Adding rational expressions with linear denominators without common factors advanced. Here we've got our two rational expressions, or fractions if you will, and of course we can't add or subtract them unless we have a common denominator. We're not able to simplify the denominators any further like we've done in some of the other topics in order to find that common denominator. So in this case, we're going to be, I think it's going to be a little bit easier to find that common denominator. But the first thing that we need to do is we need to take care of this negative sign. So if we had an addition sign, we would just go with the common denominator and go forward. But here we've got this minus sign, and we've got to take care of this first before we do anything else. And so I'm going to kind of put everything in parentheses, so that way we can see everything as a whole term. And we're taking this negative times x. Well, that gets us negative x. Again, I'm kind of leaving it in parentheses so we can see it. And then negative times 6 gets us negative 6. Okay, so now I'm going to bring everything down. And of course, now that we've gotten rid of this negative sign, it's a plus sign now. Okay, so now we can find that common denominator. And in this case, we are simply going to take the denominator from the other rational expression and multiply it to the first one. So I'm going to change color so we can kind of see this a little bit better. So over here, oops, I did scribble again. So we've got 3x is what I'm multiplying over here. Okay. And so on this side, I'll have to multiply by 2x minus 3. So see how they're going to look alike by doing that? Now if we do that, we multiply the opposite to the other side, we also have to do that to the top. So like this one, we do 3x on the bottom, we're going to have to multiply 3x on top. Same thing over here, we multiplied 2x minus 3 on bottom, we're going to have to multiply that 2x minus 3 on top. Okay, so now let's go ahead and we're going to multiply everything out. So 3x times x gets us 3x squared. And I'll put the 3x, 2x minus 3 on bottom. Put our plus sign. And now we're going to distribute. We're going to do the FOIL method like we did in week 3. So x, or negative x times 2x gets us negative 2x squared. Negative x times negative 3 is a positive 3x. Negative 6 times 2x is a negative 12x. And negative 6 times a negative 3 is a positive 18. And again, that's all over our common denominator. Okay, so in the next step we're going to do is we're going to combine like terms. And in this case, we've got the 3x squared minus 2x squared. So that gets us x squared. Okay, so we combine those. So now we're going to take 3x minus 12x. Well, that gets us negative 9x. And the only thing we have left is that positive 18. Oh, that's kind of close to that plus sign, but we'll go with it. Okay, and this is all over, of course, our denominator. And so at this point, you're going to want to check to see if you can factor the numerator more. In some cases, you won't be. In this case, you can. And so this is leading coefficient of 1. So I'm going to go ahead and put our two sets of parentheses. We've got an x here and an x here. We need factors of positive 18. That'll get us a negative 9. In this case, it's -6 and -3. Again, over our denominator. Now, if you could simplify this by canceling some of these out, then you would do so. In this particular example, there is nothing for us to simplify. There's nothing for us to cancel. So this whole thing right here would be the answer that you would put into Alex. Now, you may have a different type of an example. We're going to try to go through it relatively quickly. So we've got 2x over, and again, I'm going to put this in parentheses. And I'm still going to do a minus just to get you in the habit of making sure you distribute that negative sign. X minus 3. Okay, so in this case, if we distribute this, I'm just going to kind of rewrite it here. I made this a plus and this is a negative because there's only one term. Okay. Now we need to multiply the opposites. So we need to take this denominator and multiply it over here. So x minus 3. And of course, that's what we're going to multiply the top by. And over here, we're going to do x plus 4. Okay, so x times 2x is 2x squared. Negative, let me draw the arrow so that way you can see. -3 times 2x is -6x. Multiply this, we've got -4x times x. Gets us a -4x squared. And this times this gets us a -16x. Now, of course, since we're adding these, I've gone ahead and we can write it all together over, and we could have done that over here as well, and had just the common denominator here. Kind of doing that to save us some room. Okay, so you're going to be taking your like terms, and you're going to combine them together. So we've got 2x squared minus 4x squared. Well, that gets us -2x squared. And a -6 and a -16 gets us a -22 all over our denominator. Okay. Now this is the part where you got to check to see if you can factor the top. For this example, you can factor the top. And I'm going to take a -2 out. Oh, I didn't bring my x down. I'm going to take a -2x out. And so we've got x plus 11 in parentheses. And then on bottom, we've got x minus 3, x plus 4. And again, at this step, you would check to see if you could cancel anything out. Chances are you won't be able to with this topic. And so this will be your answer. But you'll need to make sure that you factor the top, because if you don't and you just put this in, of course, Alex will mark it wrong.